Love that Batman. Yep, I sure do. But Batman was not meant to fight crime alone. Oh no. That's why within a year of his debut, Batman acquired a partner. And there was a dynamic duo where once there had only been a shadowy solo. Batman and Robin! They're a package deal as far as I'm concerned. Pay no attention to my shirt. The shirt, much as I like it, is just another sad example of the boy wonder erasure that has plagued our cynical modern age. Except in the comics. They've got enough Robins to fill out a snake boat team in the comics, but despite the truly ridiculous number of Robins that have accumulated in the comics over the years, in my heart, there have only been 3. Well, 4, sorry, Carrie. We can argue over which Robin is the best, which Robin is our favorite. One of these days, I'm going to do a whole video in this series devoted exclusively to Robin in all his and her various incarnations. However, there is one thing about which there is no argument, and that is who was the first Robin. This guy, Dick Grayson, Robin numero uno. I'm, of course, speaking in terms of publication history. In story, technically, Bruce Wayne was the first Robin, at least during the Golden Age, as established in Detective Comics number 226. But let's leave that aside. Dick Grayson is the first and by far the longest-serving Robin. He was like a son to Batman. Got that? A son! Or maybe a brother. Don't you even know? Batman loved Robin in a completely healthy and normal way, except for the bit where he enlists the traumatized, recently orphaned child into his personal campaign of violent vigilantism. But, like, every family has its eccentricities, right? My family always had chicken at Thanksgiving, so. Anyway, Batman loved Robin and was very protective of him, and we see a very clear example of that in Detective Comics 241, cover date March 1957, early Silver Age, right in my sweet spot. Let me tell you all about the lead story from that issue, written by Edmund Hamilton with art by Sheldon Moldoff and Stan Kay, a delightful little tale titled The Rainbow Batman. As explained by the delightfully expository cover of the issue, the premise of this story is that Batman has gotten it into his head that, for some reason, he must wear a different colored costume every night. Looks like Alfred's been busy. The story begins with Dick Grayson walking down the street when he overhears someone calling for help following a robbery. But before Dick can change into Robin and stop the thieves, he sees the getaway car bearing down on a girl crossing the street. I love Dick's line here. He thinks to himself that he's got to rescue, quote, that youngster, who looks to be about his age. Big, how do you do, fellow kids, energy there. Dick makes a leap for the girl and pushes her out of the way of the speeding car, saving her life, but banging his elbow against a lamppost in the process. A doctor arrives and tells him the arm isn't broken, but he won't be able to use it for about a week. Dick's like, gosh, that's too bad. Not because I'm Robin or anything, because I'm not. Of course not. Thank God it's not my Batarang throwing arm. What was that? It's cool kid talk for masturbation. Gotta go, Doc. I'm late to smoke a spliff with my fellow youngsters. Dick overhears some reporters talking to the owner of the store that was robbed. Apparently some high-tech TV broadcasting equipment was stolen. Dick runs home to tell Bruce that he got a good enough look at the thieves in the getaway car that he can identify them. Dick arrives home in time to see a news broadcast about the incident. He gets mentioned for saving the life of that youngster and hurting his arm in the process. Dick's like, it wasn't that big of a deal, and my arm should be fine soon. Bruce is like, so I don't need to give you any time off from being Robin? Sweet. Bruce deduces that the thieves must be planning to use the stolen TV equipment to disguise themselves as a camera crew so that they can get close to something even more valuable and then steal it. So all they have to do to catch the thieves is keep a close eye on every big televised event over the next few days. If the thieves are around, Robin can point them out. It's a sound strategy, but there's just one more element, an additional component to the plan that Robin finds highly unusual and which we don't get to hear about yet. Oh, I wonder what it is. Oh, yeah. The next day, there's a big parade to welcome the King of Zeronia to Gotham City, and the TV cameras are there to cover the big event, and Batman and Robin are there in the Batmobile. And the people watching from the sidewalk can't help but notice that Batman is wearing a bright red costume. Wonder what that's about. Robin doesn't see the thieves anywhere around, and Batman examines the credentials of all of the camera crews on hand, and they check out, so no thieves today. Later, when Batman and Robin respond to the bat signal, Batman shows up dressed in a light blue costume. After the dynamic duo succeed in forcing a runaway truck filled with explosives safely into the river, a reporter asks Batman, "So, what's the deal with wearing the differently colored costumes?" Batman's like, "I don't know, maybe I just felt like it. Hey, I have a better question. Why don't you mind your goddamn business?" It goes on like this for a bit. There's a big event in Gotham. Batman and Robin show up. Batman wears a different colored costume. The reporters scratch their heads and wonder what Batman could possibly be up to. At one point, the conspicuous costume changes attract so much attention that Batman is asked to leave a jewelry expo because no one is looking at the jewels as long as Batman is around. You're hurting the economy, Batman. Reporters and the general public are still confused as to why Batman's wardrobe has suddenly become so colorful, but it looks like the thieves thereafter might be starting to suspect something. The christening of a new ship nearly goes horribly awry when the ship unexpectedly starts to slide down the launching platform, and Batman notices a hidden line attached to it that would have pulled down the entire platform had Batman not been able to cut it in time. Batman figures it must have been the thieves who rigged the line, hoping that Batman and Robin would be killed by the collapse of the platform. If the thieves are trying to bump off Batman and Robin before attempting their big score, they'll get another chance soon enough, because the next event the dynamic duo are set to observe is a sharpshooting contest. A sharpshooting contest important enough to attract live news coverage. This is what I love about the Golden and Silver Age comics. Gotham City is a major American metropolis with a population in the millions and is apparently so dangerous and overrun with criminals that it needs costumed crime fighters to help keep the streets safe. But it's also so crushingly boring that the local TV stations send cameras to sharpshooting contests because apparently there's nothing else going on. When was the last time the 11 o'clock news in New York City included the big target shooting competition in the sports report, do you think? Anyway, it's the day of the big televised shooting contest, which has also apparently drawn an enormous live crowd. And Batman, in what can only be interpreted as a deliberate middle finger to the thieves, arrives dressed in a costume with a target on his chest. Getting rather cheeky with this costume gimmick, aren't we, Cape Crusader? Shockingly, Batman is shot during the event by a gunman from a nearby rooftop. Fortunately, Batman is fine. He reinforced the target on his chest with steel, so he and Robin take off in search of the sniper. By the time they get to the rooftop where the shot was fired, the gunman is long gone. Robin points out that Batman's loud, attention-grabbing costumes make him an even more tempting target than usual, but Batman says, "Yes, but I must continue to wear these costumes, Robin, and you know why." So it's at this point that the story runs out of patience with itself and just cuts to the thieves Batman and Robin have been after. They have no idea why Batman has been dressing in different colored costumes all week either, but they don't mind because it makes their job easier. With the attention always focused on Batman, they'll be able to pull off their caper under everyone's noses. Then why are they trying to kill Batman? Whatever the thieves' plan is, it involves the big Money Expo starting the next day. Yes, the Money Expo, where the main attraction is $1 million in cash on display. Thousands of people from all over Gotham City come to get a glimpse of that cash, and they buy tickets for that privilege. Because you know the old saying, you gotta spend money to see money. Batman and Robin arrive at the Money Expo, Batman wearing a rainbow costume, They take a look around, check out the TV crews. Everybody seems on the up and up, but then Robin finally recognizes one of the camera thieves. Batman springs into action and punches the guy in the face. Robin searches the guy and finds a gas mask under his jacket. Batman sees that, and suddenly everything clicks into place. Batman opens up one of the TV cameras and discovers canisters of tear gas rigged to go off when the camera was activated. After the tear gas filled the room, the thieves, with their gas masks, could have made off with the $1 million in cash. The thieves must have switched their altered camera for mine while we were setting up, explains this cameraman who appears to be a young Ronald Reagan. Batman, arrest him. The other crooks try to make a run for it, but the dynamic duo grab them before they get away, leading to this timeless bit of dialogue from the colorfully clad Batman. They'll find no pot of gold at the end of this rainbow, only prison. Afterwards, the reporters gather around and say, "Okay, Batman, now that these thieves have been captured, can you finally tell us what the deal is with all the multicolored costumes?" And Batman's like, "Nope, eat shit, Fourth Estate." Later, they're back home in the Batcave, and Batman explains the rainbow costumes to Alfred, who also has not been smartened up, apparently. But presumably Alfred was the one making the costumes, right? Batman had him create completely new, different colored Batman costumes every day for like a week and never even told him why. Alfred had just learned to go with it by that point, I guess. An entire wardrobe of multicolored costumes, sure. It's no weirder than that time I had to make a spare Batsuit for that robot that had an exact copy of your mind 2 months ago. Batman explains it all to Alfred and to us. Robin needed to see the TV camera thieves so he could identify them, but Robin couldn't use his left arm because he heard it saving the girl from being hit by the getaway car. And if anyone happened to notice that Robin had a bad arm, they might remember that Dick Grayson also had a bad arm and guess his secret identity. So Batman began dressing in colorful costumes so that everyone would be looking at him and no one would notice Robin's injury. Why did Batman dress like a rainbow? To protect Robin. And also to prevent people from deducing Batman's own secret identity after realizing that Robin was Bruce Wayne's ward. But never mind that. I picked the title already, and I'm going with the Wholesome interpretation. A charming Silver Age story. I love it, but I can't help but wonder about that conversation we don't get to see. The one we don't get to see because it would spoil the explanation at the very end. The one where Batman explains to Robin his rainbow costume plan. "I need you with me at these upcoming televised public events to identify those thieves if they show up, Robin. But your arm injury could expose your secret identity." I agree. "Fortunately, I have a plan to deal with it." Way ahead of you, Batman. You want me to attend these public events in disguise so no one will recognize me as either Dick Grayson or Robin and signal you if I see any of the crooks. That might work, but I have an even better idea. Oh, right, I gotcha. You'll go to the events alone with a small wireless camera concealed in your cowl. Meanwhile, I'll be nearby tuning in the frequency from that camera so I can see everything you see. If I spot one of those thieves, I'll contact you with the bat radio. Great plan. No, I was actually thinking that I could feed my descriptions of the crooks into the bat computer to generate accurate and realistic composite images of all of them. Then we distribute those images to the police, and pretty soon the entire city will be on the lookout. Those criminals will be arrested in no time. You truly are the world's greatest. That's not the plan either, is it? Not exactly. Okay, so what is the plan? I'm going to draw everyone's focus away from you and onto myself by dressing in a different, brightly colored batsuit every day until we catch the crooks. Right, okay. And then? And then, after we catch them, I go back to wearing my usual costume. That part makes sense. It's a brilliant plan, don't you think? Uh-huh. Alfred, I need 7 different colored batsuits. So fast, I want options for tomorrow. Dressing up like a bag of Skittles so no one notices Robin's working hurt that week? Sounds like just the kind of thing you'd expect from the best Batman ever.